got to do with it. Little tribute to Tina.
What's love but a second-hand emotion?
What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Ooh. It has been quite the wait for this second-gen Renault Captur. It came out in 2020 overseas, but you may have heard about a pandemic that occurred, and obviously the shortage of semiconductors, etc., all played a role, but it is finally here, and it's been a really successful car for Renault. In fact, in Europe, it was Renault's bestseller. Now, this second gen is bigger than the outgoing model, and you can sort of feel it. You wouldn't normally say, because I mean, it's always by millimeters, but it does actually feel like a slightly bigger car. It feels very upmarket in here. You've got this sort of big 9.3-inch infotainment system that's portrait style, but it's not in your face. I actually quite like it. I mean, it takes center stage, certainly. One thing I have to admit to is that I spent an age trying to connect my Android Auto, only to realize that it wasn't wireless Android Auto, and in fact I had to plug it in. It's been so long since I've had to plug it in. So there are two trim levels. You've got Zen and Intense. If you can stretch it, go for the Intense model. It sort of has all the features that you'd want. I love that it's sort of half cloth, half leather. A lot of people won't. They might want this to be full leather. I love it because I'm not a big fan of full leather seats. This material is nice. It means that you don't slip off it when you sweat in summer, and you don't freeze your backside off in winter. So it's a plus for me. I also like that the aircon, which is single zone, not dual zone, the buttons are all underneath the infotainment system. So I don't have to go into a touchscreen to try and adjust, the temperature, etc. It's all here. I love that. I love traditional buttons, as we know. What is interesting, and I quite like, it's got like a full suite of, I guess, customization. So even if you don't want your indicator sound to be too loud, you can put it lower. One of the things that kind of bothers me is that when I walk towards the car, it unlocks automatically. I love that when I walk away, it locks automatically. But you can actually change that in here. You can turn that off completely if you want. Everything feels very well put together. There's just a couple of things. There are chrome bits along here that when you can every now and again hear a bit of a rattle, and if you press them, they kind of go like squeak a bit. Also, my seatbelt holder seems to creak a bit. I've actually put my jacket in between it so that it stops doing it, because if you're driving, in town and it's a bit more quiet, then you hear it. And I say when you're driving in town because I'm not driving on the highway, and even before I got into the highway, there's quite a lot of wind noise here. I find this to be actually quite loud. What I like about this, it's got a 404-litre boot, okay, but the rear bench can move forward and backwards, and if you put it into its most forward position, it goes over 500 litres, which is really quite impressive. Obviously, you might not have anybody in the back seat there, but, that's besides the point. It's also got a 60-40 split, and if you put the rear seats completely down, it goes into the thousands. So there's a lot of space that you can work with back there. There's a single engine option. It's a 1.3-litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol. You get 113 kilowatts of power and 270 newton meters of torque. Now, I would say it is more responsive than the outgoing model, but what I have found is that I only want it to be in sport mode. It's got a MySense or an eco mode, which for me, it's the lag. As you put your foot down, there's that lag. It takes a while to go, and if you're going into a circle, like a traffic circle, and you need to quickly nip in, you're not going to be quickly nipping anywhere. So I keep it in sport mode. Everything is super responsive. And I don't think that anything can beat the sort of dynamics and handling of this car in its segment. It's really fantastic. The steering is very well weighted. I feel like I can throw it into corners a little bit. The ride comfort of this car is excellent. Overall, just a very smooth drive. And talking about smooth, this 7-speed dual clutch is also It's very smooth shifting. I think the only time that you really feel it is maybe when you're in sport mode, which is the point, isn't it? You want to kind of get a bit of a and a kickback, which is fine. But once you're at cruising speed, you just let this do what it wants to do and it does it perfectly for you. Fuel consumption is really good. It's claimed at 6.6 litres, but what makes it excellent is that you can almost achieve that. So you could sit around 6.7. I've now been in sport mode and I've been pushing it, so I'm sitting at 8, but you can definitely get it lower than that, unless you have a heavy foot like me. It's also got a 5-star rating in the Euro NCAP crash test, which is phenomenal, obviously. It's got an array of safety features on here. So I think that most customers are going to be very happy about that. Again, go with the Intense model if you can, because it has more of those safety features. Pricing sits at 500,000 Rand. So it is kind of on par with most of its rivals. I think that it offers a really fantastic alternative to a lot of what is on our road at the moment. What I can say about this model compared to the outgoing model, it is more premium, it's more spacious, it's more comfortable, it's sort of smoother all around. So I think Renault has done an excellent job with this second generation. So I can only imagine that the update's just going to be even better.